This video is about replacing your old trailer lock to a new one. It wasn't that easy. Now let me show you how it's really done. So today I'm going to do a little rant on locks for your trailer. I usually don't do comparisons, but this time I definitely had to. My A-liner has the old style lever lock in it, which is not very reliable, and I'll get into the details later. But I wanted to change to one of the modern paddle type. So I ended up with actually two. One's a Bauer and one's a Fastech. Now the Bauer, I'll just show you here, I bought from Amazon.ca, and it's a Bauer travel lock with keys. 13520 is the model. And this is what I got. But when I got it, I had a look at it, and it's very light for some reason. Why? Because it's plastic. This whole back part is plastic. The lever is plastic. The mechanical part that activates is plastic, and the handle to shut is plastic. Why is this a problem? Because anybody that lives in a northern climate, northern US or Canada, knows that when plastic gets cold, below freezing, it shatters. So who on earth would want to put this on their trailer door just to have it break here, or break here, and so you can't get out of your trailer properly? You'd have to hopefully have a screwdriver or something so you can even get out. Why would anybody even think of that? So I went locally and I bought the Fastech. The Fastech is all metal. It's heavier, it's well built. I mean, there's no comparison here. The odd thing is for me to go on Amazon.ca to buy a Fastech, they're $160. In the US, they're about $28. So don't know what the deal is. It's made in China, but Canadians are kind of getting ripped off, especially on Amazon. Don't know why. I bought it locally, $60 Canadian. Got to try it and play with it in the store. No more deals like that on Amazon. It's good I'm not affiliated with anybody. So the bottom line is this: whether you spent $5,000 or $200,000 on your trailer, don't be stingy on the locks, because it's not going to pay off. These actually cost in the US within a few dollars of each other. Plastic or metal, it's your choice. That's my rant. Now I'll get into actually putting the lock on the trailer. Okay, so from the inside, this is the original lock. And I mean, it's pretty easy to open, but you can see here that it's been damaged in the past. Chances are somebody locked it and shut the door, and they couldn't get it open again, so they just forced it open, which ripped this. And it would be very easy to do because it's so thin here. It's just a thin little metal is all that's holding the door in place. I mean, putting this piece may have helped a little, but on a normal door, you'd put it here. A lot more secure. So not a good system. This kind of lock and this contraption here, to me, is just a huge failure. And I know that later A-liners, they replaced it with the paddle type. So that's what I'm going to do as well. So as far as tools go for this, it's there's nothing really fancy here. It's just your regular stuff. Cordless drill or just a drill. Screwdrivers, safety glasses, of course. I did use a scroll saw, but you can use a hacksaw or whatever you have. The only thing that I think is unique is not everybody has a nibbler. This is a metal nibbler. They're about $10 on Amazon. Really handy for getting, you know, the holes in the aluminum and making them square. But even there, you can get away with a Dremel if you have one. The rest is pretty basic, and of course I'll put a list on the side. So let's get building. So the first step is to remove the old lock. It's only on by 2 screws, so that's easy. But don't throw out those screws, as you can reuse them to attach your strike plate. Place green tape on both sides of the new lock location to draw a template.
I started with a 2.5 by 3.5 inch rectangle that was centered 2.5 inches from the door edge. Next, I drilled 2 holes to insert the scroll saw blade. You need to remove some styrofoam to make a path through the latch bolt. Any small knife or chisel will work for this. It's a little bit of trial and error at this point. Try to fit the lock in place to see what interferes. In this case, I needed to take more off the outside corner to fit the deadbolt shaft and support. This is where the metal nibbler really comes in handy. I made a rough sketch for the location of the latch bolt hole. No matter how accurate you measure, you will always need to adjust the final location. One further piece needs to be cut out of the inside door to make space for the lock casing. Any hacksaw or saw will do for this. But do make sure you clean out all the slivers and foam so there's a clean path for the lock. You'll need to determine if there's enough gap between the door and the frame for the strike plate. In my case there was, which made the rest easy. The strike plate that came with the lock had a curved side that was a little too thick, so I just filed it flat. I used the strike plate as a template for the door bolt hole, and then used a drill and a nibbler to form the hole. Next, I drilled 2 screw holes to hold the strike plate in place. I used 3/16 inch toggle bolts to secure the strike plate screws. One I had to cut a little short so it wouldn't interfere. I just slid these in behind with the screwdriver. The last step for fitting was just to screw the strike plate in place.
So now we know everything fits properly, we got the holes and everything in place. There's one other thing that has to be done before we can put it in, and what the issue is at least with the Fast Tech, it's a little bit thicker than the actual door is. It's about 3/16 of an inch. So what I had to do was make gaskets, and I just went to an auto supply place and bought some material. It's about 1/16 of an inch thick, and so you use double on one side and single on the other, and that gives you the 3/16. And these are the gaskets I made. Material will vary. I'm putting the more waterproof one in the outside, and this is almost like a leather material. Not sure what it is. That'll be on the inside. So put this back on. Put the gasket in on one side. And then on the inside, gasket material goes there, and then the back goes on. So nothing fancy on the caulking. On the outside I'm using white silicone. On the inside I'm using clear. White only is because I want to cover up the gasket I made as well. So any outside exterior silicone will work fine.
So here's the lock siliconed in place. I had the screws a little loose before I applied the caulking. The last step was to tighten these down for a good seal. And I also added a little caulking to the strike plate hole.
Well, it looks pretty good, but does it actually lock? Let's see. Shuts pretty good. Nice tight fit. I've got it in a little deeper than normal. It's not flush because I wanted that nice good seal. Let's try locking it up. Okay, deadbolts in. Yeah, nobody's gonna go through there unless they go through the styrofoam. We won't get into that. We're good.
Inside things seemed to work as well. Except for waiting for the caulking to cure, it only took a few hours to switch the locks out.
So that's it. It's lock and load time. I've got my lock. Now I can load up my trailer and go somewhere. Hope you enjoyed this video and check out my other ones. Happy camping.